Some of these artists have no issue with maybe collaborating with a mainstream act.
Right.
So long as the message of the song is right.
Sure.
Right? They'll say, like, the message fit for this song, so I can partner with somebody who doesn't claim Christianity.
Yep.
But somehow they're not willing to extend that same grace to somebody who's in the household of faith who has a different theological leaning than they do.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's a double standard,
Standard.
Like, if you're willing to extend grace to the unbeliever to do that record, like, this is not a situation of when Paul says, if the guy claims to be a believer but is living in sin, then treat him like an outcast. This is not that.
Yeah.
This guy is not openly living in sin. This is just two guys who, for all intents and purposes, appear to be real believers but have different philosophies. Can we, like, try to make something happen here? Yeah. I'd love to see it.
Let's get the people what they want. The Wade-O Radio Show.
Yes, it's DJ Wade-O. It's the Wade-O Radio Show. We're live at JahRock'n with my homie Shopé.
What's going on, sir?
Hey, man, I can't believe all these years we've known each other, we've only done one interview.
You know, I think
we could only think of one interview.
Yeah, I think I'm actually about to call my dad right now.
I think I dropped the ball on that.
And let him know that my dreams have come to pass.
Oh, see, here you
and
go.
I'm on the Wade-O Radio video, and my decision to become a rapper instead of a doctor was not a foolish decision.
It worked out.
Right, I think I'm about to call my dad right now. It's an honor, man.
I mean, thank you.
Like, you're legit, like, you're a legend, an OG in my eyes, and in the eyes of hundreds of thousands of people, I believe. So
okay, you're making me feel like really uncomfortable right now.
This is an honor. Hey, man, listen. Let another man praise you out of your own mouth, a stranger out of your own lips, right? And so, hey, you ain't gonna say it, so I'll say it for you, man. This is an honor for me.
I appreciate that, man. I really do, bro. I really do. So I want to backtrack to something you just said. You were supposed to be a doctor, bro?
Yeah, I was supposed to become a doctor.
You just dead at that,
huh? Yeah. Man, I started rapping when I was 14, which for some people is kind of late, but for me, that's just what I guess the Lord decided.
Yeah.
And then the first 6 years of rapping was really me just trying to figure out. I mean, I did it at first, and cats were like, "You're really dope. You should do this more."
Sure.
And I'm like, really stop trying to become a doctor to go pursue a rap career. I mean, I'm African. My parents were African. I don't see this going well.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so I really spent the first 6 years of rapping, like praying, thinking, trying to figure out if, first of all, I was good enough to do this. And second of all, if that's actually what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And third of all, if that was what I believed the Lord would have me do.
Okay.
And in my sophomore year of college, university as we call it, it was almost like a light bulb moment, like, no, absolutely. This is absolutely what I'm
So is this college in Africa or are you in Canada
I'm
by
in Canada
then?
You're in
Canada.
I'm in Canada at this point.
Okay.
Shout out to the University of Toronto.
I've been to your college before.
Yeah, it's a pretty
it's
a pretty good school.
Substantial school, bro.
Just a little bit, a little bit. And so, like, in my sophomore year, I think that's when I was in lecture, and I had been battling with this decision for like 6 years at this point.
Okay.
And as was often the case, I was zoned out, right? Trying to complete a rhyme or trying to put together a set list or something.
Sure.
And it was just like in that moment, it was a light bulb moment, like, yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm supposed to do. I can't explain it other than in that moment I had clarity on what had been a very sort of like difficult.
So you just walked out of lecture?
Nah, man, I ain't pull a Kanye.
I was hoping that was the start.
I ain't pull a Kanye, man. I ain't drop out again. I said earlier, man, I'm a Nigerian, I'm an African, right?
I got you.
So that was
y'all got like 8 hustles out here.
That was not gonna go well. And so I just knew, like, you know what, like, I'm good at science. I can become a doctor if I want, but that's not my calling. That's not what I'm made to do. And so I made the decision right then. I'm not going to drop out because I believe anything worth doing is worth doing well. I said, listen, I'm going to do my time here, but as soon as this is done, I am going to go after this. And I had that conversation with my parents afterwards, and it was interesting.
It was interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah,
I'm sure for particularly for a Nigerian family.
Yeah.
For the son to say, I'm good. I'm not gonna do this doctor thing. I'm gonna go be a rapper.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because, like, my dad is very progressive. My mom is more traditional.
Yep.
And so I literally saw my parents hustle. You know what I mean? Like, we left quite a comfortable life back home.
Okay.
But my dad made that decision just because he saw where the country was going, and he wanted his children to sort of be international, global citizens.
Wow.
And so he
had that vision, bruh.
Yo, anybody who knows me knows that my dad is probably my number one role model after Jesus Christ, of course. But, and so he left a 30-year career, complete with perks, complete with, like, we had a nice situation back home, right? And like he went back to the grind.
Wow.
Like poverty, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And so his whole thing was, listen, I didn't struggle to have you struggle.
Wow.
Right? And so more than wanting to just have a trophy son who's a doctor, his whole thing was like, man, I did not sacrifice all this to have you struggle. Like, kids are supposed to go further than their parents.
Sure.
And so his whole thing was like, all right, listen, man, get your education. If this is what you want to do, like, just have a backup plan, have a plan B, or if this is what my whole thing is just, I want to know you can provide for yourself and provide for your family. So he was cool with it, so long as I was doing other things to show that I'm not out of my mind. Like, I still got some knowledge in me. You know what I mean? There's still other things I'm doing to secure my bag and make sure I'm in a position to take care of myself and my family when it comes along. My mom was another story, right? Because she was like the traditional. She's like, I'm like, because I told her, I'm like, yo, mom, listen, what happens if like I get to the position where I can make X amount of money, X amount of dollars in medicine, and the same amount of music, and I want to go to music. She's like, my son will never become a musician. How will I go and tell my
You was
friends?
trying to prep her for this, and she still wasn't ready.
Right. But she eventually came around. It just took her a while to rationalize the idea that one of her sons was going to forego what appeared to be security and go after this thing. And so she eventually came around to it. It just took a lot longer for her than it did for my dad.
Hey, so let me I don't know if you know my story, bro.
Go ahead.
I used to work in corporate America. I had a really good corporate America job, bro. Like, I had doubled my salary in like 5 years, and then I left to do Christian rap.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. Like, by earthly standards.
Look, my parents wasn't feeling it at first, but they started seeing the fruit, and then I think one of the major turning points was when I got nominated for a Stellar Award.
Yes.
In the radio category, and they came out with me. Yeah. That's back when the Stellars was still in Nashville. They came out with me and saw that whole situation. It was like, oh, my son is doing something legitimate now.
I had a similar experience, right? Yeah. So, and again, like, my dad was always supportive, but it was always like, at least initially. Sure. Initially. And then I did this one show where I opened for Lecrae once. And obviously it was packed out. Sure. And I think I did my thing.
You did your thing.
And my dad came to me after the show. He's like, Shope. That's my Nigerian name. He's like, Shope, we need to talk. I'm like, all right, is everything okay? I gotta go. He's like, yeah, we need to talk. I'm like, all right, cool. Is everything okay? Like, I just want to get a brief primer on, am I in trouble? And he says, we need to talk about how to make your show better.
Oh,
and in my head, I was like, he got it. Because he saw me in my element, doing my thing, and that was when he caught it.
And it was in the city, bro.
And it was in the city.
It was in the city.
And he was like, yeah, okay, he's made for this.
So here's the thing. You were telling me this before we got on. I didn't realize this. You didn't grow up on hip hop, right?
Surprisingly,
not really, right? You didn't.
Not really. Actually, no.
So what got you into hip hop, and like, you know what I'm saying?
Honestly, like, my story is a little unconventional because, again, I immigrated to Canada when I was 11 years old. So from 0 to 11, I grew up on King Sunny Ade, Fela Kuti, Sade Adu, and some other like local Nigerian musicians. And the only hip hop I was exposed to were like the major park records like Dear Mama or B.I.G.
That's a good record though.
Yeah, I know, but like
I thought you was gonna say Hammer and Vanilla Ice.
No. Like, but like, I wasn't steeped in hip hop, so a lot of the experiences that a lot of my peers.
So you heard of Biggie, but not M.O.P. at that point.
No,
I got you.
No, you know what I mean. So like a lot of the experiences that my peers share, like, yo, man, I went to the store and I had to peel back the. I never had any of those.
No
experiences.
Peeling back the plastic.
No. So something interesting happened, right? So I came to Canada when I was 11, and my parents tried to shelter me a little bit, and so I mean, I was aware of hip hop. This was like 2000, and this was when Jah was popping, and 50 came and did his own situation. So it was hip hop, but it wasn't like what Cass would consider like the golden age of hip hop, right? But then something happened, right? Then at the age of 14, I came to faith, and there was a period of time in which I shut off all secular hip hop, and I was just listening to Christian hip hop, and it was then that my love for hip hop.
So who was a Christian rap?
The Truth.
Okay.
Truth was by far, till this day, he holds a special place in my heart. Like,
so this is like early Truth. This is like Moment of Truth.
This is like Moment of Truth.
Open a book. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, like, so this is the story of how Truth got me, right? Freshly saved, on my way to youth group. Youth leader is driving in the minivan. I'm sort of half asleep in the back, and then this song comes on. I thought my testimony was less than holy.
Wow.
I thought that I was less blessing on my homies, just confessing only the big sins. I thought
so
that was a badge of honor.
bro.
And I'm like half asleep listening to the record. And as soon as the record is done, I'm like, yo, play that back. And I just sort of closed my eye. And like that was the song of truth that just pulled me in, because
you know how many people he got with that record though, bro?
I feel like that was just that was definitely just an inspiration of the Holy Spirit. And then that sort of like began my exploration of, first of all, truth, and then and then Flame, and the whole CMR, Reach Records, Lamp Mode, and just the world that is Christian hip hop. And that was when my love for hip hop just really grew. So at this point in time, like I wasn't really being exposed to mainstream hip hop like that. It was just my diet for a good period of years was just Christian hip hop. And so it's interesting, my formative years in hip hop were really spent on the Christian end of things. It's only now that I'm having to go back and school myself on the legends and some of the back catalog. So no, I didn't grow up in hip hop like that, but yeah, somehow I'm rapping. So
that's amazing though.
Yeah,
that's amazing, bro. Like, cause it typically is the other way around for a lot of people. It's like you have your secular music and you be like, I'm saved and I don't want to keep listening to this music anymore. So crazy. Like
my love for hip, I enjoyed the top 40 commercial stuff that I was listening to, like watching on BET 106 and Park. But then I wasn't like in love with the art form the way it developed after I came to faith, and then discovered these guys who were speaking a language I could understand in a way that I understood it.
So was hip hop for you ministry at that point?
Absolutely.
Because like those guys you're naming,
absolutely,
especially at that point in time. It was like ministry.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I say they discipled me from a distance.
Yeah.
Right. Because
a lot of us.
I got saved in a certain church, and I thank the Lord for the role they played in my life at that time. Right.
Sure.
And when you're new to the faith, you don't really have your categories in order on what is. I'm not trying to like speak down on anyone, but you don't really have your categories on what's good teaching and what's false teaching. And so
you just hear what you hear.
You just hear what you hear, right? And so I'm hearing this, and then I'm putting on my headphones and I'm hearing this, and eventually something started to happen where this was feeding me so much more than this was. And there were a number of years in which I couldn't figure out why this was feeding me in a way that this wasn't feeding me.
Wow.
Why this was, by this I'm referring to the music, was pointing me back to the scriptures, right? Was pushing me further in my sanctification journey. And then eventually the categories became clear, and I began to realize that whoa, this ain't that. And more than just like this ain't that, this is actually unhealthy. And so in many ways it was absolutely ministry for me. Just like my spiritual maturity, growing, and then just also like artistically as well.
Sure. I was talking to Drew Bex about this earlier, man. The music scene in Toronto, in particular in Canada, from your vantage point, man, what's that vibe like out there?
Are we talking Christian or mainstream?
I think both, man.
Yeah, mainstream is popping, yo.
Sure.
Mainstream is popping. And that's just, again, has a lot to do with the spotlight that's currently on the city, right? We got so many talented guys coming out of the city. Drake, the OG, Party, the whole OVO camp, and then Tory, all these other guys. But then on the Christian end of things as well, as Drew mentioned, it's really challenging for Christians or hip-hoppers who want to make Christian-sounding hip-hop. It's hard for them to gain any real groundswell in the city because, again, the demographic of the city is so African and Caribbean in nature, right? So the churches or the youth groups who are going to book you typically aren't in the city, they're in the suburbs, right? And so you have to journey to the suburbs. But in terms of the city, I mean, we had our community, and we still have our community. There's some guys in the city who I rate as rappers, like, yo, that's the dude you need to look out for. But in terms of like, yo, it's popping, it's not really popping only because the demographic of the city is such that the different churches and youth groups are more prone to listen to a Christian song that sounds like an Afrobeat record or a Christian song that sounds like a dancehall record.
Huge out there.
Oh, bro.
Huge.
Bro.
Huge out there.
Huge.
Wow.
Like, anyways, I'll stop right there. Huge. But in the words of Jay-Z, y'all should be scared what I'm about to do next.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Okay. I think I know where this is going, brother.
Yeah.
How'd you link up with Role Model Records, man?
Yeah. So the church I was at the time, Shola, he came to the church, and then he saw me doing my thing. Because again, for the first couple of years, I was really only rapping in my church by design.
Yeah.
And he just saw something. Like, he was new to the faith, but he just saw something and is like, there's something special about this guy. and I would like to do something with him at some point in the future. So he actually came to me and he's like, dude, at some point, I don't know when, but I would like to do this on, like, help you on a more,
because he didn't have role model at that point.
He didn't have role model at that point, right? But Shola's he's a hustler, like, yeah, I mean, he got saved from the streets, and so now he just legalized the game.
I got you.
The hustle,
I got you. We might have to get Shola on here to talk about his story, but
oh my gosh,
I'm just hoping that the statute of limitations has passed. So that we don't get into too much stuff.
Too much. I mean.
Shola, you ain't know I knew all of that. He off camera right now. He ain't know I knew all.
I'll
of
let
that.
him. I'll let him make that decision.
I know, bro.
I'll let him decide about that.
I know, man.
But
can we even say your name on camera, bro?
You may just have to bleep that out. Man, bleep. Saw me doing something special, and it was bleep. Nah. So what was real interesting though was like, I had myself and my blood brothers. We were in the church, and we had some years in the faith. Not saying like we had arrived, but like myself and my brothers, we helped disciple Shola in the beginning, like just spiritually. And then a couple years later, he's like, "Yo, remember that thing that I said I wanted to do? Yeah, over the last couple of years, I've been doing some behind the scenes work. This is Role Model Records that we're launching right now." And so it was really amazing because I say blood couldn't make us any closer.
Sure.
Right? Because we helped him sort of get his spiritual weight up, and then he began to help me get my business weight up as well. So it was just one of those where the spiritual stuff predated the music stuff, but they worked very well in tandem with each other. Yeah. And so that's how I got linked up with them back in 2010, just right at the genesis of the whole thing. It was like, yeah, man, I'd like to bring you on as the first artist, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, like one of the things that's been impressive for me, I didn't quite realize it had been, I guess, 7 years.
Yes.
But I knew it had been something close to that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Oh, my gosh,
you know what
bro.
I mean?
We talk about this.
You guys have been consistent and have grown
in
terms of what you're doing and, just how you're moving and always done it. It was always done in excellence.
Thank you,
You know what I mean? From day one. So
thank you so much. Like, that means a lot, man. That means a lot. We do have these conversations of how many people have come and go, and we don't credit that to us. I just think it's really just the grace of God.
Yeah.
Like, because there are other individuals who have had bigger platforms or bigger clouts than we do, yet for whatever reason it couldn't stay.
Yeah.
But yet here we are, and I think it's just the Lord taking our little 2 fish and 5 loaves and doing with it what He will. We just try to be faithful. And one of the things that Shola said to me, like from the jump, from years ago, that has stuck with me and stuck with us is, bro, 10 or 10,000, we go hard every single time. And there were times we did shows where there were 10 people. And 5 of those were RMR team members. Right. There were times when we did that.
Sure.
But we went hard, and we just believe the Lord has been faithful to sort of like, it's not always been easy, but to keep us still going 7 years later. So, I mean, no credit to us, but all glory to God.
Yeah, I think like, when I think of Canada and Toronto and Christian rap, y'all are like the first names.
Wow, thank you.
By far.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank
That kind of come to mind. And again, man, it's a testament, man. Y'all grinding, y'all out here getting it. And I kind of feel like y'all are like kind of hitting a point where it's like it's been going like this. Yeah. But now it's like it's tilting up a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, Drew mentioned something earlier when you interviewed him. He said, like, he's a student of the game. We all are.
Sure.
Right? So one of the constructive feedbacks that we got as a label in the past was just a level of consistency, right? Like, we'd make really good music, but it just wasn't consistent enough. And we took it and said, you know what? Like, sure, okay. And then so we took all of this feedback, and then we reorganized how we do things, and now we're moving in that lane. And I think what you're seeing is the effect of us taking the counsel and moving accordingly, right? So, yeah, I do feel like we are at that stage where things are picking up, and it's a blessing, man. It's just it's so nice to have your art be heard by people. You know what I mean? Like, we do it for the glory of God, but like, you want people to hear your heart, like to hear your heart, because that's what we put in our records.
Sure.
And so it's such a blessing to be in a position where it's finally begin to get some wings and get some legs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think about Christian rap right now? You a vet now, bro. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm just
a
saying,
vet?
bro.
I still feel like I'm on the come up.
7 years in Christian rap, you a vet, bro.
I still feel like I'm on the come up, man. I think it's both.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't still come up. I mean, we all still on the
no.
I'm still
Yeah,
on the
you're
come
right.
up,
Yeah,
bro,
right. Yeah, right. If I can be completely 100, like Noah's real, like that's my whole thing. I want to be real. It's both encouraging and scary at the same time.
Okay.
Both encouraging and scary at the same time. And the reason I say that is because again, our big brother, big uncle Lecrae he's gone to places none of us ever imagined.
Right.
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
No one imagined he would be where he is right now, right?
Yeah.
And hate him or love him, agree with him or disagree with him, the fact of the matter is I don't think anybody can say that guy's not a believer.
Sure.
Nobody can say that.
Sure.
So a lot of guys who are coming in see that, and they want to skip steps and go to that.
Yeah.
And so there's some music that I hear that I'm like, bro, I hear this from a non-believer and I give it a pass because I'm like, oh, they're a non-believer. That's what they're going to say. But you claim to be a believer and you say certain things, then it concerns me that I don't know how a believer can in good conscience say that or do that. And my concern is that I think some people just see the end product but don't see the 10, 15 years of solid counseling and discipleship that he got.
I have a theory on that. I have a theory on everything, but I have a theory on that.
Right.
One of the things that I think has benefited people like you and I is we came into Christian rap at a time where not just people didn't, quote unquote, skip the steps.
Yeah.
They actually championed the steps in their music. So there was a lot of songs about discipleship, and it wasn't just like we love Jesus and we're going to be overt about it. Yeah. There were just certain concepts that were discussed more. Yeah. And I'm not saying nobody discusses those concepts.
Not as frequently though.
But not as frequently. Yeah. And after the music stopped, for all intents and purposes, it was a whole album about discipleship, right?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was the whole campaign around the album, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, J-Song, Life on Life, whole campaign.
That was all it was.
That's all it was.
Growing Pains afterwards.
Growing Pains after that, right?
Yeah,
that was the whole campaign.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So it was like, these are the top guys, and they're saying, hey, this is some of what we're doing in our life.
Yeah. Because like that's honestly like music cannot feed you. I mean, it can feed. No, that's not. Music can feed you, but music cannot sustain you.
Yeah.
Right. There has to be like all the other life stuff that's happening behind the scenes, right? Yeah. And so what's happening now is that we're not hearing that as frequently, and so some cats are. I don't know. I mean, I just feel as though some people won't last, and I don't have any specific names in my head right now.
Sure.
I just know I come across some things ever so often. I'm like, I don't know how you can justify that.
Yeah.
And so in that sense,
I feel like people won't last not just because they're not good musically, but it's like when you're not at a certain place spiritually, it's easy for the devil to just come in and attack you.
Yeah, yeah. Like Cray said it, man. He said this system will eat you up. Like you got to know who you are. He
was talking about that in the interview I did with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like my concern is that I think God has uniquely qualified Lecrae to deal with the platform he's at right now.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the result of years of discipleship. Yeah. I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, oh, I wish I could get that kind of platform. But at the same time, I'm like, there's a certain level of maturity that you need to have to deal with that. And I don't think a lot of people have that, right?
We all want the stuff we see Lecrae doing on the camera.
Right.
Nobody wants the stuff he has to deal with off the camera.
Right. So on one hand, like that concerns me, right? But I don't want to be overly negative.
Sure.
Because what I do appreciate, though, is the variety of styles and sounds that are now available. Once upon a time, I felt as though I had to give a gospel presentation in every single song.
Every record, right?
I feel like at one point in time, I was like, should I go to Bible college? I mean,
hey, bro. I think everybody could consider
that's
that.
Where
if you come from that era, bro, you came up on that era. Right. You're lying if you say you ain't consider it. Bro.
Right.
You at least consider it.
I did. I'm thankful I didn't pursue it. At least maybe not at this point. But the variety of styles now allows people like a Drew Becks to exist, right? Or people like an Essa, who's a very good friend of mine, who finds a way of doing life music in light of a Christian worldview.
Yeah.
And some songs you're going to hear the gospel. Sometimes you're not going to hear the gospel message, but you feel the gospel presence, right? And so in that sense, I like the variety of music that is now available, and the different ways we now understand, like, it doesn't always have to be done this way and this way alone. We can do this in other ways. So my thing is, as we explore these new avenues, let's be careful to not lose ourselves in the pursuit of success or acclaim.
Yeah, that's real, bro. Yeah, man. I always say this, man. It's like I just feel like we like there's a lot of work to be done, and I hope so. Let me get your thoughts on this while we're here. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and they were like, one of the things that they still see somewhat is like there's like still some divisions in Christian rap, because it's like you have these different camps. And I said, man, it seems like that's been going on for like years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it manifests in different ways. And he was just like, man, one of the things that needs to happen is people with totally different styles,
right,
and quote unquote philosophies need to do some records together. He's like, what would happen? He just threw this out there. So I'm not putting pressure on these individuals. What if Social Club and The Truth did a record together? Like, they're so different.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you almost can't even imagine what that would sound like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with the right song, it might be dope. With the right concept, it might be dope.
They're all amazing.
Right. So this is what I'm thinking, right? Some of these artists have no issue with maybe collaborating with a mainstream act.
Right.
So long as the message of the song is right.
Sure.
Right. They'll say like the message fit for this song, so I can partner with somebody who doesn't claim Christianity.
Yeah.
But somehow they're not willing to extend that same grace to somebody who's in the household of faith, who has a different theological leaning than they do.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's a double standard, yo.
Standard.
Like, if you're willing to extend grace to the unbeliever to do that record, like, this is not a situation of when Paul says, if the guy claims to be a believer but is living in sin, then treat him like an outcast. This is not that.
Yeah. This
guy is not openly living in sin. This is just two guys who, by all intents and purposes, appear to be real believers but have different philosophies. Can we like try to make something happen here? Yeah. I'd love to see it. Yeah. I don't know what it would sound like, but that's definitely something I'd want to hear and see.
I think and again, I don't want to pick on Social Club and Truth, because they've all done a lot of collabs with people across a lot of different spectrums. So I'm not, but at the same time, I'm just like, man, like some stuff like that would be. I think it would be huge. I think it would be really huge for the culture and for people to see like. There is an animosity. There's not like yo, we the real ones, and man, y'all a bunch of young fools. No, I don't think that's the heart of these guys, and I think a lot of people would benefit from seeing that happen. Yeah. We need some, and I think too, stuff like that would create some moments, man. Absolutely. We don't have as many moments. Not as many. Not as many. Again, because it's changed so much. Before it was centered around 116. Christian hip hop was 116. Yeah. Right, and then since that has changed, now it's sort of splintered into these different factions, and so because of that, we don't have any major moments that everybody looks to. But here's the thing, though: it was centered around 116, but you still had a bunch of people that wasn't 116 that was doing some dope stuff, but they didn't feel like they could be a part of it because they wasn't 116. True. But now I feel as though the ground is a little more even in that sense. I mean, 116 excluded, like they're in another stratosphere. We all know that. But everybody else from Prop is with Humble Beast now, but Prop Tunnel Rats, I feel as though you could have guys who, like, they all have an equal chance of success, potentially, right? So, it's a different climate, man. It's a very different climate. Yeah, I think it's a good time to be an indie artist right now. Yeah, what a time to be alive. Hilarious, bro. Hilarious, man. Yeah. So what you got on the horizon, man? Man, one of the things we said was just consistent content, man. Consistent content. Yeah. So probably going to be dropping a song every month. Between like myself, I'm going to be touring later this year. Shola, can I say part of it? I'm going to be touring Europe this year. Oh, that's killer. Yeah, and there's some friends of mine who I'm trying to bring. Okay. I can't say who they are yet, but I did it last year and it was really good, and I'm going to be doing it this year on an even better level. So yeah, so touring, consistent music, and that's about it, man. That's what's up, bro. And also trying to balance being a new dad as well. So you got the kids. Yeah, I did. The kid. Got the kid. Singular kid. Hey man, I'm speaking those things. Hey. In the Lord's perfect time. You gotta crawl before you walk, right? Right? Yeah. Literally. I'm just getting adjusted to this first one. Okay. So I'm just trying to deal with that whole thing, man. As you said, as the music is picking up, so is like life, right? So I'm just trying to make sure that by God's grace I'm balancing it all well. Yeah. Well, I got an idea, man. What's up? If I threw some beats on, man, just see if the Lord been speaking to you, bro. Okay, let me. You know what I'm saying? We can I throw something on for you, man? Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. All right.
Yeah.
Give you something classic to spit over.
Thank you. Let me try this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Rolling through the 6, riding with my woe. Not the type to bite, that's not how I roll.
Okay.
Now Empire State to let the freak happen. Ride the basic brother. 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I think I'm about to unfollow every single person on my timeline. Well, maybe not for Piper, or ask Pastor John.
Okay.
It's really hard to keep up with what everybody's on or what everybody wants to make you think they on. We stand in other shadows, then we wonder why the lawn every day looking so dull. I guess it's just the fall, not the autumn leaves, but all of these bad habits. The art of these when our parents bit and grabbed it. Now flowing through my arteries, no apologies to what I believe. Probably don't jive with your degree. What'll make a girl sell herself, and what'll make a brother gain wealth, then put a bullet to his brain shell. What's a heaven if there ain't hell? Just questions, but the book got answers. But I'm still trying to get him, trying to stomach tough lessons. Like I'm still not the man that I want to be. I'm still battling with things that I want to leave. I said I'm still not the man that I want to be, but I'm grappling with things that I want to leave. But he saves,
I love it, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, bruh.
Yeah, that was fresh.
Good money,
fresh out.
man. Listen, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you too, bro.
Wado Radio.